taking scalps. 20 hands at 30 stone, with his hat a head more. Bully hound, woolly hound, blacky hound, war. The man and he dog they have no standard bog. Call Pesepte po tate out in a quartet, and him and he dog want come with the moon. Pesepte po tate, by unknown. They don't tell you things and you don't learn them till you're the one who's got to live them. And I ain't learned about Scalper and his hellhound till I was living out of doors. I ain't learned the rhyme, the fear neither, didn't learn that neither, till I needed them. But it's true. Oh yes, every word you done heard is true. I slept in 1,000 places under city sky, slept in the abandoned plants with the crankheads, them and their runny eggs for brains, watched the starlight glitter through the panes of broken glass, slept in rail cars while they was waiting for a changeover at the depot, slept with one eye open, 'cause the true blue hobos are throat slitters, through and through, slept on top of the bridges when the hurricane come, when it's eerie and no cars, but like there's spirits about. I'm one of the ones who sees the man and the dog. I'm one of the ones who sees him with his hat full of scalps, the hair on them so fresh it's like they still got their owner's life in them. I see his black dog the size of a sick horse, its red eyes glowing like every way rubies can trick your eyes to think them's fire, its tongue more like a huge Gila monster's than a dog's, wagging and slathering and crazy for meat. And it is, at that, oh, it's crazy for meat. I hear you thinking, I hear you asking yourself, like you want to ask me, too. You want to know why I sees the man, and I sees his black dog. It's 'cause I called for him, just like they tell you you's supposed to call him. I'll tell how it went. I'm down under the bridge waiting for the ferry to come, 'cause this one ship captain remainders me. His half pint on account of his wife don't like him to steer the ship drunk. I'm sitting there, and this guy comes up to me, young blood, ginned up on his own juice with hair. He's paying sticker city slicker prices, for like it ain't no thing to carve a half G out his pocket for a mother-loving snip, and he's falling all over himself and his buddies, 3 sheets to the wind. This little Wall Street puke comes up to me, dead rat in his hand, and no, it ain't a metaphor. I mean the cuff-linked puke has some vermin, what punched the ticket, and he's holding it up at my nose. And he says, you know what he says to me? He says, hey, nut job, I'll pay you $1,000 if you eat this. So I say to him, I says, half up front, figuring, no way, right? But he pays me 5 crispy, crunchy hundos, real slick-like, thumbing them out of a money clip like the goddamn pimp of the Ivy League, and he tosses them on the ground, in front of me, like the money's nothing, and especially like I'm nothing to him neither. I bend down to pick it up, and the kid kicks a fucking field goal. Johnston's partner Murphy goes toe up into my snout, and it streams out of me as I buck backwards, ass first into the muck, a pretty red rainbow glowing under the lamps, nose hot as a 5-alarm fire, and eyes already swole up like plums by the time my dick hits the dirt. Well, I knew the song, didn't I? So I calls it out, all bloody snot-choked, clotted and burbling through my sniffer. I calls it out. 4 times, they say you supposed to call. You call to him, and he dog, 4 times. Pesepte potet, I calls out, and a little wind rustles the mailers and Chinese menus, and the empty packs of smokes, the stray bolts and scrap, rustles them and every other type of dry shit, too, across the ground. Skitter, skitter, skitter. I hear it, I hear it. But these drunk boys don't know what they done, 'cause they make me a mockery. They make me a mockery, and one of them even does I hate to say it, an impression of me, muttering through bruised gums like he's Peter goddamn Sellers come back out the grave. I says it again, Percepte potet. And this time, the lamps cut out, and then the wind don't sound like the wind, but it sounds like a man, whispering how he's gone, kill you dead. It's enough that the Wall Street boys hush up to themselves and start looking around funny. Percepte potet. I says it the third time, and there's this great steely whine, like something with metal jaws is chewing up a stack of sheet metal. And the air starts crackling, like when there's sparks on your sweater, when it's been rubbing up on who, or whatever. You know what happened then? You won't believe it, but I'll tell you anyhow. A whole rain of big red bricks come tumbling off the side of the expressway overhead, and they land on the heads of all the field goal kicker's friends. Miss him, but cranially wallop all his cronies right good. Splat, quick as you like. Sharp red corners straight out of the kiln and into the top of they all's skulls. So then, Mr. Shit Don't Stink, Mr. Ivy League Pimp, Mr. Come and Eat This Rat, boy, looks at me like I've been caught porking his mama while she was supposed to be singing at church. And I think he knows that I'm going to say it again. Percepte potet, I says. And even with my face all scramble fried, bruised blue and stopped up redder than a tampon, I says it clearer than a bell. The whole alleyway gone quiet then, and it seemed like we wasn't down by where you wait on the ferries. It seemed like we was in another world, just like it, but darker, like everything had two shadows instead of just the one. And in every two shadows, there were two, and two more shadow things hungry to make more shadows, slithering black through the night lights and hungry like death. What happens then? What happens is, here he comes. The scalper walks out of the shadows, seeming tall as two men, his skin so dark, it's glowing. And, oh, his aspect is a fearsome one, no quibbling about his fearsomicity, and his hands are big as summer hams, and his legs are long as stop signs, and he's holding his top hat, 'cause, well, I don't know if I told you this, he always holds his top hat, 'cause it's so stuffed full of scalps he can't wear it on his head. And does he ever cut a sinister figure? Many think that the dog, she's worse. The hellhound's a lady, a bitch, you see. No insult or nothing, but she's a bitch. In fact, or however the way you say his dog ain't got the same equipment as her daddy. And I heard, though I only heard it the once, and even then from a drunk much worser than me, I heard that the scalper likes this lady dog of his, 'cause she's seen her pups killed for her eyes. So, the hellhound's crazed and still looking for them, and somehow the scalper tricks her, so's she thinks the ones whose scalps he comes for are hiding her babies from her. Shrewd enough to sell you that bridge. He is. The hellhound, she is so big you could think she was a bear. But she growled like a crocodile. The field goal kicker isn't too keen on sticking around to get another point after, and he splits like a sinner running from the rapture. I figured the scalper was going to go get the little puke himself. But no, he lifts me up, easy as you pleasey, no more huffing than it'd take you to pick up a roll of toilet paper, and he dusts me off. And then he hands me a knife. Well, you ever heard something 10,000 of 100,000 times and think you can't reckon any meaning out of it any more than you'd learnt your whole life from it already? How many times you got to hear about penny saving being the same as earning, or how people living in glass houses need to watch their throwing arm, or about early birds and worms. You hear it once, you hear it 1,000 times, and you think, if you hear it again, you'll blow your ever-loving brain out of your skull. So, after the scalper hands me the knife, He says something I'd heard as much as I cared to hear in my whole life, but I hear it anew, sanctified like, and them words sounded like a baptism must feel to a man glad to be saved. I hear what he's telling me, and I hear it like no one's ever told me what he's telling me, never before. He says, in a voice like gravel, just laid hot on the highway, he says, teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for a day. And when I look down at that knife, after I run it through the puke's gills, after I made him squeal, after I carved off pieces of him and fed them like beggin' strips to that lady dog from out the mouth of hell, I understood that the scalper wasn't there to save me. He was there so that I could save myself. I looked down at the knife, the scalper, and his hellhound, sitting close by, with bellies full and smiles like I never seen on any other meat-eaters' faces before, and they're watching me look down at the knife. And I think him and his hound knew the same thing I did, that I'd found my fishing rod. Teach a man to fish, and he'll fish for a lifetime.